Hello learners, I am Dr. Pratibha and I welcome you all to the lecture on Unit 2, Social Small Talk from the course Begla 135, Greetings and Goodbyes. The content of this unit will be covered in two videos. In video 1, the topic of discussion is what is small talk, steps to overcome anxiety about small talk, and how to prepare beforehand for social situations where small talk is needed. In video 2, we will discuss in greater detail some social situations and the relevant tactics for appropriate small talk. Let us begin. Small talk pervades almost every part of our lives. After greetings as conversation starters, small talk is something we all do to communicate with people around us, be it at work, at events, or when waiting in line at the grocery store. Small talk is essential for connecting with the world around us, to form a community, to broaden our network, to progress in our careers as well. Although these casual talks are essential to human survival, many people find it difficult to initiate and sustain such casual interactions. A significant reason for some people to feel anxious about indulging in small talk is apprehension about the unknown or questions such as, what am I supposed to say? How will others react to me? What if I get stuck and don't know what to do? How should I respond? And what if I say something wrong? Have you ever felt bothered by such questions while you think about speaking to someone? Small talk might be frightening and daunting for some individuals, but if you learn to think of it in terms of meeting new people, reconnecting with old friends, and growing your network and community, you will be able to overcome the hesitation easily. Speaking with others does not have to be difficult or anxiety-inducing. If you have the skills and information, you prepare yourself in advance and get in the correct frame of mind, then you can effortlessly talk to anyone. Let us first understand what is small talk and why we do it. We will also look at how does it work. According to Merriam-Webster dictionary, it is a light or casual conversation. According to the Oxford Dictionary, small talk is defined as nice discourse about inconsequential or uncontroversial issues, especially as engaged in on social occasions. In other words, it is a polite conversation about unimportant or uncontroversial matters among people during social events. When Polish anthropologist Branislaw Malinowski first researched about it in 1923, he referred to it as phatic communication. Phatic communication is different from information transfer. It is a technical word for communication that has a social function to foster relationships. This is why discussions about unimportant issues can still be important. However, many individuals believe that having a conversation requires them to conjure up hundreds of words out of thin air. They find it frightening and unpredictable, as they are worried about not knowing what to say. But being mindful of the following can help alleviate much of the anxiety about social small talk. Consider this in a social scenario. Control your emotions and body language. Prepare beforehand on how to strike up a decent conversation with anyone. Practice responding intelligently to something spoken to you. Use polite language that makes people feel pleased. Politely bring the conversation to a close. Apart from these, thinking about the social scenarios ahead of time can not only make you feel better prepared to tackle small talk, but it will also make you more successful communicator. For this, let us consider the basic elements of most interactions. First, What type of occasion is this? Is it an office meeting? Is it a reunion with friends? Or is it a networking event for campus placement? When a group joins together for a common goal, it provides for an interesting topic of discussion. Prepare for small conversations by looking for common themes, such as how the other individuals are related to the meeting, matter of importance for these people, or what sorts of experiences they have had with it. Next, where will the event take place? The location of this event may both indicate the type of crowd that will attend and also act as a topic of conversation. For example, someone may be visiting a city for the first time because they are attending an out-of-town conference. People who reside someplace, on the other hand, are frequently highly proud of their hometown and love to talk about it. Next, who will be present at the event? Will the guests share common interests if this is a work-related gathering? Will they be employees or supervisors primarily? What exactly are they there to learn? Is it possible that they are displaying their own work? Consider how guests may be divided by age, gender, hobbies, or other factors for non-work events. Next, what are some subjects that are simple to discuss? What are the themes to stay away from? Consider what topics might be appropriate for conversation with this group. Let me here recall that in Unit 1 on starting and ending conversations, we did cover in detail some safe topics like weather, traveling, cinema and art, food and cooking, sports. These are generally considered neutral topics. When talking to someone you do not know personally, you must know the topics that always work in a conversation. So even if you don't know anything about the person, you can still wedge your way in and begin a successful conversation. I suggest you to re-watch the videos on Unit 1 to recall and rehearse the open-ended questions that serve the purpose of good conversation starters. Further, also remember the problematic 5 topics, namely politics, money, religion, race and sex that must be avoided because they invoke deeply held beliefs or affiliations and generate unease or embarrassment. Finally, never make assumptions about individuals you meet at social events. Treat each interaction as it were a completely fresh meeting and ask insightful questions to learn straight from them. Let us do some practice to master small talk and contemplate. You can see some questions. Let us do some practice to master small talk and contemplate. What are some of your favorite subjects of conversation? Consider what you would most like to discuss with another person. Write down your thoughts on at least 3 topics that interest you. Here are some pointers to help you out. Your job or profession, your favorite activity, your favorite sport or professional team, vacation spots. Now, think up some effective starting sentences for each of the items on your list. The art of striking a good conversation with small talk brings many opportunities for individuals. Sometimes it can even prove to be more important than one's education, social standing or professional experience. As a result, it is worthwhile to examine the many scenarios in which small talk may be needed, as well as look at why we employ it in such settings. The following are some instances of regular life circumstances in which small talk or casual talks play an important role. Networking. The goal of networking is to connect individuals. Small talk is a crucial component of networking because it helps you develop interpersonal interactions that are as significant as your credentials. In each networking circumstance, the idea is to first establish a personal connection with the other person before exploring prospects for further connection. As students, have you wondered how will you initiate small talk in an on-campus recruiting event at your university? Do think about it. Individuals with extensive networking experience will tell you that most networkers fit neatly into one of the two categories. Those who develop likable and desirable contacts, and those who appear overtly desperate to be employed, noticed or linked. Your ability to make decent small talk about topics other than what others can do for you has a significant impact on which segment you will fall into. Since business is a popular career choice for many, let us now consider small talk in business meetings. Relationships are at the heart of any business. There is an old saying that says, all business is personal. People who seem to like you are far more ready to assist, to support, and even promote you. They would like to do business with you. More often than not, these successful connections begin with people expressing interest in others through small talk. Small talk is especially important for professionals who rely heavily on customer interactions, such as salesmen and small business owners. Good salesmen, for example, understand that it is frequently more essential to inquire about someone's family life than about the product or service they are attempting to sell. Good small talk establishes credibility and trust, allowing for the development of deeper commercial ties. Special events and gatherings. Human beings are the only living creatures that gather to commemorate key events in life. Weddings, birthday celebrations, religious or national holidays are such events. These and other events provide an opportunity to connect with people in one's regular network or to meet new people for the first time and to get to know them. As a result, in virtually all of these events, small talk is the dominant mode of discourse. Community interactions. The term community refers to much more than just where one lives. It also defines the social network that makes up one's life. Small talk is an important aspect of these personal and professional communications, which are woven into the fabric of existence. Neighbors, affinity groups, boards and service organizations and others are examples of these ties. In most situations, these connections are founded on shared interests and life experiences. Personal and professional life may frequently get entwined. Remember, nobody ever improves their small talk skills by avoiding social settings. The people who appear to be experts usually have years of practice. Those that are skilled at it learned to be such through experience. They rehearsed small talk, both formally and informally, until it became second nature to them. Further, one cannot improve small talk skills by simply reading a book. Small talk and conversation skills are developed by doing. Therefore, it is important to take out the time to learn and practice as you read along. This will ensure that you acquire maximum benefit from these lessons when applied to your own social situations. The initial steps toward establishing successful small talk begin long before you open your mouth during an interaction. Understanding the mental game of social encounters, adjusting your perspective on them, and preparing before you ever set foot in a social gathering for them will be extremely beneficial. More importantly, these techniques will help you gain the confidence you need to ensure that these interactions go well, both for you and the listener. As with any talent, confidence will increase as you continue to practice. Now we will look at some practical tactics for establishing a good first impression while initiating small talk when entering a room for any event. That could be a business meeting, a celebration, or any social occasion. Understanding how to make eye contact, stand properly, administer a firm handshake, and employ other fundamental social skills for connecting with people may often make a significant difference in how prepared you feel to face new social scenarios. Your first impression greatly influences another person's willingness to communicate with you. Small talks become more easy if you create a good first impression. Let us start with what most people notice first. It is your non-verbal body language. Be mindful of your posture. Do not slouch and stand up straight because it is the first thing people notice, even from across the room. Your posture is a critical component of your first impression. Good posture, especially while speaking to someone or at a public event, begins with the fundamentals. Maintain a natural upright stance, whether standing or sitting, with your hands on your side or clasped securely in your lap. You do not need to stand stiffly straight, rather, the idea is to convey confidence through your body language. Avoid stuffing your hands in your pockets, clasping your hands behind your back, or hunching down. All of these make you appear less attentive with the person in front of you. Your posture also communicates your feelings to the other person, often more effectively than what you say. Try to avoid mistakes that make you look anxious. Here is how anxiousness looks in your posture. You avoid looking directly at the other person. You take a step away from them rather leaning toward them. Your arms and shoulders are tight and protective as if you're defending yourself from being hit. In a casual discussion, this bodily position undermines the interaction's goal and makes the other person quietly feel rejected and undesired. This is why, if you discover that people do not always warm up to you, the first good point may be to check how you stand rather than what you say. Another key part of your posture is leaning in. Leaning in is an excellent body language tactic to indicate your interest in the conversation. Leaning slightly toward the other person sends a strong signal to them that will help both of you feel better. You can do this regardless of how you feel, and instead of feeling anxious, your partner will feel more heard. This is why, in addition to posture, leaning in is a vital component of the art of small talk. Next component, proximity. Be mindful of your proximity to others and respect their personal space. Some people stand naturally close to one another, while others require more space. This is frequently decided by one's cultural setting. While meeting someone for the first time, it is a good idea to step forward, shake their hand, and then take a step back. If they approach you, they are interested. They may feel more at ease being near, but if they remain immobile or take a step back, they are setting personal limits with which they are at ease. Then you should respect that space for the rest of the discussion. Next component, make eye contact. Your eyes convey a lot of information about you to others. They express your degree of curiosity, your level of comfort, and your level of involvement in the person and the topic. This is significant because at certain levels you can regulate these perceptions by maintaining good eye contact. The main idea behind eye contact is to make a connection with someone. Looking away from someone all the time conveys apathy or discomfort. Staring at someone with a fixed look would be unsettling. Aim for natural periodic looks to the other person's eyes while speaking and attempt to follow and match their lead for eye contact. Beyond that, maintaining correct eye contact is a question of fundamental etiquette. Do not look around repeatedly. Gaze over other person's shoulder in search of other people. Seem preoccupied or stare at your phone. Your objective should be to maintain pleasant, friendly eye contact that conveys interest in other person. Hands. Hands are difficult to master. Pay attention to what you are doing with them when you're talking to someone. Would you let them dangle by your side? Or would you use them to gesticulate? In a discussion, your hands can be used to convey confidence with a relaxed, natural stance or can be used as a communication tool. In the former instance, the ideal way to utilize your hands is to let them hang naturally at your side or to strike the typical party position with a drink in your hand and the other casually dangling to one side. It is also acceptable to anchor oneself against a chair or a table with one hand depending on where you are standing. In any case, relax and allow your hands to rest comfortably. In the second situation, hand gestures can be used to punctuate our discourse and demonstrate our interest in the other person. When making or amplifying a point with your hands, move gently and quietly and keep your hands close to your body. Do not make big movements or jerk your hands about. Next, watch out for hand signals that convey uneasiness to the other person. Fidgeting, touching your face, twirling your hair in your hands or rubbing your fingers together are all prohibited. Also, avoid placing your hands in your pockets. It might be misconstrued as disinterest. Finally, should you ever touch the other person when speaking? Some individuals like doing this and the gesture is occasionally highly appreciated. But it is advised that you avoid touching individuals you don't know well, especially if you are a man talking to a woman. Instead, at a respectful distance, use your hands and body language to make the other person feel welcome. Handshakes. Handshakes have been a long established traditional form of communication between individuals. A nice, firm handshake is an important element of our initial impression. It expresses being welcomed by the other person, expressing openness to interacting with them. It delivers a brief but crucial moment of personal contact. Furthermore, it establishes a first impression as one of assurance. A decent handshake strikes a balance between not crushing other person's hand and not looking like a limp, lifeless fish. It should be succinct and to the point. Grasp the other person's right hand with your right hand, thumb on top, and swiftly pump up and down. As you shake the recipient's hand, you should ideally smile and make eye contact with them. Smiling, making eye contact, and offering your right hand are all effective approaches. Also consider the following points: using the proper grip, which is neither too tight or too limp, pumping once or twice without feeling rushed or overly lengthy, and disengaging and reverting to a calm posture for a discussion. Firm handshakes between persons of any gender are a cultural norm in the United States. However, keep in mind that people from various cultures may have different norms. Here are a couple of examples. Russians frequently exclusively shake hands with people of the same gender. In certain religious societies, unrelated men and women do not touch each other. When extending your hand, be mindful of other person's culture and interpret their body language. If they do not respond, smile, wave politely when you extend your hand, then discreetly retract your arm, and of course, while traveling abroad, become acquainted with the norms of the nation you are visiting. Smile. A kind, inviting smile is also a crucial element of making a good first impression. You don't want to be frowning when you meet someone. There is a sports phrase called the game face that refers to athletes putting oneself in the mindset of the game before walking out on the field. In a social setting, consider your game face to be the pleasant, confident, smiling expression you put on anytime you approach a social gathering. When you realize it's time to socialize, make it a point to put on your game face. You can control the expression on your face in a social setting, and this game face is best developed beforehand and committed to muscle memory so that you can bring it back on command. Usually people practice in front of a mirror to see how they look while smiling. Simply be conscious of how your face may seem to others and be mindful of putting the individuals you are speaking with at ease. Smiling at someone is considered a gesture of respect in the United States. However, keep in mind that this is not the standard over the world. In some nations, excessive smiling might be seen as a sign of incompetence or dishonesty. So be mindful of cultural differences. Show that you are paying attention. The purpose here is to make the person with whom you are conversing feel heard and understood. Being an engaged listener is an important aspect of small conversations. In fact, if you are not listening to the other person, you will be unable to continue the conversation. However, individuals frequently misinterpret what listening entails. Listening is much more than simply not speaking. To be sure, giving someone the time and space they need to tell their experience is an important component of listening. True listening is a very participatory process in which you offer indications that show the person that you are hearing and digesting what they are saying. These verbal and physical cues are called minimum encouragers by experts. They are called minimum because you still allow the other person to speak and do not take the floor from them. They are called encouragers because you make the person feel heard and welcomed. Here are some examples. Responding with your facial expressions by nodding your head. Using expressions such as I see, absolutely, yes. Using these phrases would let the other person know that you are listening. Finally, inquiring. You may ask a question like, can you tell me a bit more about that? As you manage your first impressions with people, keep in mind that proper listening entails providing input to the other person rather than simply keeping silent. You don't have to spend hours learning to speak eloquently or to have a nice social experience. You only need to follow a few simple actions to ensure that the first few seconds of small talk and social interactions go smoothly. Many individuals notice that when they make a good first impression, they relax, they feel liked and accepted, and the small talk flows much more readily. Consider practicing your small talk abilities in a low stress environment, first with people you know and then progress to real life social situations. The assurance it provides can go a long way toward making unpleasant situations more bearable. I hope you will practice the suggestions and tactics given in this video to master the skill of social small talk. For more content on this topic, you can check out the references that have been provided here for further reading. Goodbye and thank you.